wanna get high, man?
Let's stimulate your mind.
Get up, Chucky! What have we got here? A fucking comedian.
Rojan Kim.
Hello, and welcome to the Rojan Kim cast. It's me, Rojan Kim. Thank you so much for joining me today. For me, it's Friday. I'm in love. It's Friday, January 29th, 2021. I apologize for not having a podcast earlier. I was a little busy. Some stuff is going on at home, but also I got really busy caught up watching what's going on in the markets. And I have to admit, I got caught up in the euphoria. I'm still in the euphoria. Buy and hold GameStop. Hold it. Have I been caught up in the euphoria? Yeah, I've been caught up in it. I've been watching the markets. I've just been obsessed with how the markets are reacting. All the markets, stock markets, fucking crypto markets, the goddamn fish market. You know what I mean? Everybody's going crazy. All the markets are going crazy. And it's fucking great. I don't know. I'm so glad I chose the Wall Street Journal instead of TikTok. You know what I mean? At the beginning of the pandemic, as to what to get. So if I was on TikTok now, I don't know, I'd be doing a little dance about GameStop. GameStop? And a little dance, buy it, hold it. I don't know. Like I'd be fucking retard on TikTok, letting the Chinese take all my data instead of joining the fight against big capital, the little guy versus big capital, okay? Sticking it to the man, all right? By buying a GameStop stonk. By buying a stonk, right? You let us play the stonk game. If I can take our money, we'll show you what's what. Anyways, the reason why I didn't podcast in the middle of the week is because I was caught up in this euphoria, and I just felt like everybody was talking about the same shit. Everybody's sort of repeating the same stuff, and I had nothing to really add. I had nothing really to add to it. I mean, I guess I could add. Well, I just wanted to take some time to reflect, and maybe the best thing for me to add is how I personally came upon all this stuff that was going on. So, the running joke I've been saying, I was at a crossroads in my life after turning 42. I decided I had to either subscribe to TikTok or the Wall Street Journal, and I chose the Journal, okay? So I was like, all right, I'm like over 40 now. I can't dance with these fucking kids, whatever. So I should learn about the markets. Learn about them. They seem to be what clearly the government doesn't care about you. It cares about the markets, okay? Who does it bail out? The markets. So might as well learn about it. Okay, so that's how I started reading the Journal. And then I was like, I don't know. The Journal just felt like the New York Times, but for businessmen, conservative. But otherwise, same mainstream narrative, same very pro-war, pro-corporate, same thing, same shit as the other side. It just really goes to show that the centrist sort of faction, both Republicans, Democrats, liberals, conservatives, whatever, it's all the same. It's just pro-war, pro-business, fuck the little guy, pro-elitism, anti-populist, that sort of thing is. So it was $24 a month. They were charging twice as much as the Times, and I don't like the Times. And I was, and I started getting my news from elsewhere. Okay. The dangerous part of the internet, as they would say it, right? There are all these New York Times articles about how people are getting radicalized by independent media and YouTube. Maybe you're getting radicalized by my podcast, right? Maybe I might be, it's jihad time. Strap a fucking stick of dynamite to your chest and grab a child on the street and blow yourself up for the cause is not what I am advocating, okay? I know that they'll take that out of context to put me in a gulag and be like, see, he advocated his listeners to strap dynamite to their chests and pick up children and blow them up. And I'm saying that's not what I'm doing. Do not blow up children. First of all, after Newtown, it should be clear that children don't matter. They don't care if you go and shoot up all the kids, all the little rich white kids, whatever. They don't give a fuck. They don't care about that. You got to hit them where it hurts. And that's the money. It's the only thing anybody cares about in this country. It's the only thing the rich care about. It's the only thing the poor care about. It's the only thing anybody cares about is money. So that's where they're getting hit. And that's why I'm all for this. Is it a movement? Perhaps it's a movement. Is it market manipulation? Perhaps. Is it dangerous? Perhaps. Unstable? Sure it is, right? The rabble. Oh my God, they're storming. This is just like the insurrection at the Capitol, the storming of the Capitol, but instead of Capitol with an O, it's Capitol with an A, right? That's the real Capitol. That's the Capitol that counts. See, the storming of the Capitol with an O, that was really a photo op if you think about it. I mean, like, what did they get away with? They got 5 people died. Someone stole a podium. That's it. That's all they got away with. This storming the Capitol with an A is, so far, these motherfuckers, these hedge funds, because of this short squeeze people are doing, they've lost like $70 billion. $70 billion, okay? $70 billion. And what? I don't know. What's the downside? Oh no, the financial system is going to become unstable. Oh, the financial system that's been rigged from the very start against you and me, that they allow us to participate in just so that they can take our meager earnings. You know, they're like a fucking casino. We'll let you play stocks. Sure, we'll let you play options. We'll let you play derivative. We'll let you play all the stuff. Yeah, play all the markets. Sucker, because you're going to just get suckered, right? And your money's going to get... Big bank usually takes little bank. But this time, little bank decided, what if we all ganged up? What if many, many little banks got together, one after big bank? Then what, right? What if it was like a bunch of ants attacking a giant lizard or something, you know? Or like when the wasps invade and shit, and the fucking honeybees all fucking, like 10 honeybees grab one wasp and then use their wings to heat up the wasp. They like use their wings to vibrate the air so it gets hot and they cook the wasp alive. That's what we're doing. That's what we, and I say we, like I'm part of this movement, but I'm really not. You know, so like I was saying, I went into the dark corners of the internet. Of course, what that usually means is Reddit, right? Reddit became, that's how I found wallstreetbets. And then I found the penny stocks and the whatever. I started following all of them. And then through all of that, I kind of ended up at crypto because I was like, man, stocks seem very speculative and a lot of work or whatever. And the Bitcoin thesis is sort of the first thing I kind of like understood, you know, after gold. You understand gold. You understand sound money. And then Bitcoin makes sense. And then after that, it kind of starts going. And, you know, I started learning about Ethereum and DeFi and how that's, you know, decentralized finance and how... Look, man, they fucking locked people out of their Robinhood accounts to not let them trade while the shit was going nuts on Thursday. They made it so you couldn't even buy. They just blocked the buy button out. You could sell, but you couldn't buy. How is that not market manipulation, right? That was just to encourage you to sell, but then you can't buy. That's the last thing they want you to do is buy, right? I guess I feel like I'm rambling, so I'll go back to what this is all about, unless you're so tired of hearing about it. If you know everything about what's going on, sorry. But I'll just add a little background in a second. But, you know, basically found wallstreetbets, found crypto, then I just started seeing this GameStop thing. You know, I started seeing it for a little bit, a week ago, a couple weeks ago, whatever, and then it really started taking off last week, and then this week, right? It really started taking off. And so if you understand what it's all about, I'm sure you've heard tons of stuff about it. Essentially, this guy called Deep Fucking Value on Reddit found that they were shorting Melvin Capital and amongst other hedge funds were shorting GameStop over 150% of the stock. So they were basically betting 150% times the amount of stock that actually exists, right? That's like me, like if you had $1,000, I bet against you. It's like me saying, I'm going to bet $1,500, right? That means that's like, I don't even have $1,500. What are you talking? Why are you betting that against me? You know what I mean? And they're just like, is that even allowed? Apparently it's not allowed, but whatever. You can get away with it if you're a $1 billion hedge fund. So this fucking guy found it, Deep Fucking Value, found it. He actually had a little thing in the Times, the Journal. They doxed him and whatever. He's out. But he got in for like 55 grand when the shit was like $3, right? And now he's got made over 22 million or whatever. He's a millionaire, right? So basically this Melvin Capital and amongst other firms shorted the GameStop stock down to about 3. They were shorting it all the way down. Then it started bumping up to 40. Then they started getting into a fight with Redditors. It was Redditors versus Melvin Capital in this place called Citadel or something. And like they started tweeting. And that was their mistake. Their mistake was that they tweeted, Melvin Capital tweeted, or Citadel tweeted that the stock is going to go down to 20. They're like, it's definitely going to go down to 20. And how is that not market manipulation? Basically, they're trying to scare everybody into selling their stock. They're like, because they make money if the stock goes down. But instead, a hero like Deep Fucking Value made a strong case for why not only is GameStop a viable business, shouldn't be bankrupted. Not only should it be saved because of the nostalgia, because all these people are now in their 30s and 40s, right, who all remember GameStop, all went to have great times at GameStop, right? Great times where they took your fucking games for pennies on the dollar, right? Or that's where you learned. The first time you learned to buy high, sell low was at GameStop, right? And how fitting, how poetic that now the people who used to be robbed by GameStop are now pitching in their pennies, pitching in their dollars, pitching in everything to help resurrect it and really to resist big capital, right? This hedge fund that makes its money shorting companies into bankruptcy. What a shitty way. That's kind of shitty. And so why not make it go the other way? Because they lose money. If you short a company and the company ends up making money, more money, the stock price goes up, you lose money on that bet. And isn't that the point? You made the bet. The bet only works if it goes one way. That's not fair, right? That's not the free market. Then that's just like you win, and then if you lose, you fucking socialize, right? Socialize everything. Well, this time, because of fintech, right? Because of things like Robinhood, because of the financialization of everything, because of the pandemic where they shut everybody down, because of the great financial crash and all the bailouts they've been doing since then, where billions and trillions have been used to bail out hedge funds, corporations, Wall Street, banks, not the little guy. Not the little guy. This time the little guy is taking his money and fucking the guys with the big money. This time little bank is taking big bank. Okay? If you don't think that's a beautiful thing, I don't know. Maybe you were born rich. Maybe you own Melvin Capital. Maybe you're a hedge fund. I don't know. Anyways, it's super easy. So anyways, this sort of started spreading into a strategy amongst people online of like, oh, let's look for other stocks that are being shorted. So then all you got to do is go onto a stock screener. It's very like finviz.com. And there's like a little window where you screen for stocks. And one of the things just says floating short. And you select high, and a huge list of companies just pops up. And these are the companies that I found. AMC, let's see, AMC, Naked, NAKD, MAC, VIVE, GME for GameStop. All these stocks come up that are being shorted very high, like over 20% or whatever. And people are just piling in now, trying to fuck these short sellers, trying to fuck them, and I don't know. Is that wrong? Why is that wrong? I can't understand what the case is, why that's wrong, right? Why that's wrong. And me having learned about the markets, I think from the standpoint of someone, had I gone the TikTok route, I would think that what they're doing is wrong. Had I gone the TikTok route, I would be like, oh, it's so dangerous what they're doing. And it's this, this finance bros. And I'd have the, I would have a stereotypical and very thin, superficial understanding of what's going on. And I would be judgmental, and I'd be making my TikTok videos and looking down from on high, being like, oh, these white bros, I would be racializing it. I'd be a total Democrat about it. Okay. The cool thing about this is that there's no sides. There's no Democrat. It's not a liberal thing or a Democrat thing. It's not it's really a populist thing. It's really what it is. It's a populist thing. I'll say it again. That's why they're trying to equate Trump to it. I saw a little headline from CNN that said Trumpism explains why the GameStop bubble is going. It's like, what? Trumpism? Yeah, because they go on to wallstreetbets, and wallstreetbets is a place where they believe in free speech, so you can call each other retards and faggots and autists, okay? They call each other all kinds of things. They say all kinds of things that you're not allowed to say anymore, that people say, and then they go, oh, they're Trumps. They're Trump. And it's the most retarded thing I've ever heard in my life. It's just like when the Capitol was quote-unquote stormed, right? Capitol was stormed. Clearly, it wasn't burnt down. It wasn't anything like that. and it was a photo op. But really, what is it? The optics, right? The optics are the rabble. Oh, the rabble, the guy with the Viking. Oh, these white people, the rabble. They're all in there. They didn't wreck anything. They took pictures. They were asked to leave. They even got shot. A few of them had the decency to get shot and then not even do anything about it. Okay, that's all that happened. And they're trying to make this into a domestic terror. Now contrast that to this. This is another insurrection. This is a real rushing of capital, right? Capital with the A. This is a real rushing. And are people dying? No one's dying. But there is an impact, right? Billions lost by hedge fund managers. Billions lost by hedge fund managers who've been banking on getting rich. Think about this. The pandemic shuts down brick and mortar businesses. Digitization has been shutting down brick and mortar businesses. Big tech, Amazon, so forth, has been shutting it all down, right? So what are these hedge funds doing? They're banking on all these businesses losing money, putting in all their money to do it, asking their media buddies to manipulate shit, basically spread fear and get people to short things that maybe if you let the market decide, it wouldn't be. Okay? I don't know. So that's what's going on now in the markets. Maybe the whole thing will collapse. Maybe. I don't know. But maybe you should have fixed it all back when we had a great financial crisis, right? Maybe instead of bailing out all the banks, bailing everybody out, and making the problem worse so that we could get to this point and make an even bigger bubble, and just print money, and meanwhile everybody is poorer and poorer, and nobody has healthcare, nobody has nothing. And we're talking about morality, whatever. All right. See, I feel like I may have repeated what a lot of other people, if you listen to the darker corners of the internet like I do, you may have heard something similar. You may have heard, but I think it's because that's what's going on. Okay. Don't let the news fool you. Don't let them trick you into thinking that this is, there's something wrong with what's going on. What's wrong is this entire financial system where you can financialize the futures of everybody, and then you can basically crash the market. Okay, last time when the market crashed in 2008, look at all the people who lost their shit, their pensions, their whatever. Who went to jail? Who went to jail for it? Nobody, right? You know why? Because it was quote unquote legal. Right? The credit default swaps, the whole thing, the housing bubble, all of that, it was legal because they have buddies. Right? Because the rich, elite business people have rich, elite buddies in government, and they all make sure that the rules apply. The rules only apply to the outsider, right? Not to the inside. To the insiders get different treatment. And that, of course, I feel like is what they hated about Trump. See, they don't care about racism. They don't care about evil or whatever. You think they care about evil? You think they care about evil? The people who gladly we're at war with 7 countries. We have no idea who they are or where they are. We're just faceless machines killing children overseas. You think we care about evil? We don't care about Newtown. Judge little babies, little white babies all getting shot. 20 of them. Pow, pow. Little white babies. Little tiny white babies. Pow, 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 pow. What happened? Nothing. They don't care. Evil, you don't care about that. What they care about is appearance. What they care about is appearing like you should be in charge so that they could keep this thing going. What they care about is maintaining the facade of the elite and the justification of elite control. This is the idea of divine rule, right? Just the idea that God said that I should be better than you, and so I am. And that's just the way it is. So it's just basically taking that and now transposing it to a secular thing of no, it's because, you have to believe in the state and the government, and you have to believe in the party, and you have to believe in these institutions and organizations, whatever. It used to be the church, but now it's us. And so it's like a priest class. You gotta just believe us, please, believe us. But what's being exposed more and more is that the priest class is corrupt. The priest class is fucking the kids. The priest class is they're fucking all the kids. They're taking all the money. They're fucking killing people left and right. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. They will just stab you. They'll stab you in the belly and charge you for it. That's what they'll do. They'll fucking stab you and have you arrested and charge you money for it so that you end up paying them to be stabbed. You understand? That's what the elite is. And, this is something I think that I've said, I think Tucker Carlson has also said it. So, I'm in good company. Maybe I stole it from Tucker Carlson. I don't know. I should start wearing a bow tie and doing a new show too, and doing everything that Tucker Carlson does, except pretend I'm a Democrat, and then everybody will love me. Okay, anyways. See, this is why I won't make it in this town. Because I don't execute on great ideas like that. Anyways, look, it's just... if we are being ruled by an elite class, they should at least like earn it, right? They should at least be like cool and like fucking, I don't know, pull off cool stuff. I mean, I just, at least like the Empire in Star Wars, when you're like part of the Empire, at least you have like the Death Star and stuff. At least you have like awesome shit, and you're like, yeah, we kill planets. At least like Rome, the glory of Rome would be to go, and conquer Gaul, right? And then bring the Gaul king, or bring the king of Germania and just have him before Rome and humiliate him before the people, and everybody goes, yeah. And they feel good about being a military monster, about being an empire. You feel good about it, you feel good and you take it, and that's what we do. We take it, but what is this? This is like, we do that part where we kill and we take and we're rapacious and all that, but then we also do the other part where we pretend we're not like that, where we pretend we're like the rebels, and we pretend we're like, oh my God, these people who have nothing, they're oppressing us. That's really what it's kind of like. The Watchmen and this whole mythical thing of Trumpism and the secret Nazi uprising that half the country is infected with, I guess, somehow with white supremacy, including all the minorities who ended up voting for Trump. More minorities ended up voting for Trump this time, and of course they're infected with white supremacy as well. The white supremacy that's infected half of the country. Okay, the half of the country that also voted for Obama last time. Whatever. Okay. Anyways. Right? It's like that idea. Like in Watchmen, the white supremacists, the evil, the evil, that they were Oklahoma lettuce farmers. That's it. That's the entire threat. The entire world was like a liberal fantasy in paradise. Fucking Robert Redford was president for 30 years. You know what I mean? They turned Vietnam into the 51st state. You know what I mean? The entire thing is a liberal fantasy in paradise, and meanwhile, the greatest threat to it is a bunch of lettuce farmers, white supremacist lettuce farmers. You know what I mean? It's completely, everything is completely upside down. The propaganda. You see the propaganda? You see what they're saying? They're saying the poor are the enemy. You see these poor people, and they can, because of race, they can racialize them and be like, see these rural poor people, see they voted for Trump. They rushed the Capitol. And I guess they're also the ones who used Robinhood and bought stocks. They're also sophisticated enough to buy stocks. Okay, the narrative is all falling apart. Everything is coming apart. It's fucking fabulous. See, people are, some people are afraid of this. Some people are afraid of change. Some people are afraid that, oh no, the establishment needs to stay there. I got a friend, quote unquote friend. Okay, he's not really a friend. He's more like a friend's husband that I have to tolerate. But his Twitter drives me insane. And just because he's a guy who thinks he's smart, just because he's a guy who went to, an Ivy League school, comes from an Ivy League family, and kind of has the trappings of being a smart guy, acts smart. But then, I see him reacting to this GameStop thing on Twitter, and he's just talking about, like, oh yeah, stick it to the man, but what about everybody's pensions? And, oh, the financial system is going to become unstable. And, and this guy's talking about pensions, and he's never worked a day in his life. You know what I mean? He's never worked a day in his life. He's talking about people's pensions. What does he know about pensions? What do you know? Do you know how you earn a pension? By working hard, okay, for 20 years, right? You know what he did the last 20 years? He went to school and he taught other people how to go to school, okay? That's what he does. So, you know what I mean? So that's who's out there. That's who's out there hand-wringing. That's who's out there being like, oh no, what will happen if the status quo you want to keep this? You think that this, you don't see that it's all rigged? You don't see that the real criminals are the people who are quote unquote saying they're being attacked? The ones who are saying they're being oppressed? The ones that they are the oppressors. Just like Americans, we say we're oppressed and we are at war with 100 countries. You know what I mean? Like that's just That's the culture. That's what's going on. And that's why it's good. It's great that they're trying to stick it to the man. So what's the big deal about... So the GameStop thing is interesting because today, Friday, is a day when a bunch of options expire. And options basically means it's like you bought a contract to buy 100 shares of GameStop at a certain price. And for the longest time, GameStop was really low in price. So they were selling options, in the hundreds. They're saying, oh yeah, GameStop will be like 100. Yeah, whatever. You could buy that for like $10, whatever. They never thought it could get up that high. And it has. It's hovering around 300 now. So that means all these options people have, if they hold on to them and exercise them, that means you owe them hundreds of shares of GameStop at a third of the price. Hundreds of shares each contract. And people have been scooping up thousands of contracts. Because we financialized everything, we've created a system where it's possible for you to short something by more units than it actually has. And not only that, it's possible for you to buy contracts to gain units. And by units, I just mean shares. Gain shares more than actually exist. So then what's going to happen? What's going to happen when there's no supply, but the demand is huge? It's very similar to what's going to happen with Bitcoin. It's very similar with what happened with oil over the summer, except the opposite, where oil went negative in price because no one could use it, because everything was locked down. So all this oil had to be stored in tankers. And so then people were actually starting to pay tankers to store the oil. So the oil price went negative for a bit, right? I think they call that contango. I always forget the opposite of contango. I'm going to find out. Contango versus backwardation. So contango is what happened when the prices went negative in oil over the summer. Contango. And then backwardation is what's going to happen if, say, for GameStop, there's much more demand than there's supply. Such a short supply. And basically what's going on with the short squeeze is that in order to cover these hedge funds, in order to cover these shorts that they made, they have to start buying the stock in order to hedge against their short. Okay? So then that drives the price of the stock up. So they're kind of fucked. They have to keep buying the stock or else they're going to get fucked by the short. And either way, there aren't enough shares, because they overshorted it and people are scooping everything up. And now it's going to be time to pay the piper. And today's the day when the options expire. And people are saying, hold on past today, because in the next week, that's when people are going to start having to exercise those options. They're going to try to hold off, not exercise the options, hope people sell, hope people get afraid, people sell off. But if you just keep holding, that's what Deep Fucking Value and wallstreetbets is saying. What they're betting on is if you keep fucking holding, okay, eventually they'll have to pay. They don't know what the price will be. Could be 1,000, could be more, could be infinity, and the whole system breaks down. It could break the entire thing. You don't know. And what am I saying? Is that good or bad? I don't know. I'm not saying. Okay, I'm saying it's good that the elites are getting it stuck to them, and that the system that they rigged in their favor instead of fixing is now coming to fuck them in the ass, because what they were trying to do is really rake in the pennies of the poor by allowing them to participate. But in the meantime, they had all the advantage. They had all the communication advantage. They had all the media advantage. They had all the insider knowledge. I mean, Congress, the government, there were senators who were insider trading during the pandemic, right? Making money off of the crash coming. They were fucking. That's all legal. It's all legal for the elites. It's all legal. It's all legal if you're in government, if you're in big business, whatever. If you got a lot of money, that's all legal for them. Okay. Somehow now they're looking. Now that the little guys are making money off of their rules, now they're gonna look at. Now they're gonna regulate. Now they're gonna come in. Now we gotta come in here and look at a fine tooth comb. Gotta really get in there. It's just like when they pass a stimulus bill, right? When it comes to like banks, they're like, $1 trillion for the banks, $1 trillion for the airlines, $1 trillion for you, but now $2,000 for people. And they're like, all right, we gotta really go through this with a fine tooth comb. It's like, what is this $2,000? What is this for? Wait, what do you need? Oil companies? What do you need? $3 billion. That's nothing. Here, take that. That's insulting. 3 billion is insane. I'm going to give you 10. Okay. Don't even come back until you need a trill. I give out trills, bitch. Trill. We trill in this, bitch. That's what's going on. Okay. Money printer go burr. Okay. That's what's going on. The people are not as retarded as you think. The people are actually smarter than the elites think, and the elites are actually more retarded than the people think. And that's the game, right? The elites are just hoping to God that people don't find out how retarded they are, right? And the people I hope to God that the people realize that they're not as retarded as they're made out to, that the elites tell them that they are, okay? And I think this is all part of the crumbling of that. I think, I do think it was 9/11. I think people will point to 9/11 as the beginning of the end of the American empire. And you see the great financial crash. You could tie that to 9/11 because we over-leveraged ourselves doing all this war, trying to have guns and butter, basically. Housing market, everything, good credit, everything, and it got popped, went down. Then what did the government do? Fucking let's just pour money into the hole instead of fixing things. So just like at 9/11, we had the opportunity to fix our foreign policy, fix our standing in the world, talk to people, to really, really maybe change things after the Cold War, but instead we double down, right? Double down on hegemony, world empire, oil control. We did it, okay? We doubled down on it. And that kind of led to the financial crash. Financial crash was an opportunity for us to maybe fix up the system, maybe reduce the disparity of wealth, fix how equity works. I don't know, just fix some things. Maybe give people health care, maybe fix the water in Flint, maybe do something. But no, instead, the government just printed more money, gave it to the rich, gave tax cuts, transferred more wealth to the rich than any other time in history. And this is under Obama, okay? Trump comes along. What did he do? Transfer more wealth than Obama any time in history, right? Who cares that, right? They all do the same fucking shit. What's Biden about to do? Transfer even more wealth. They're going to keep transferring wealth. Keep transferring wealth away from people, right? Because when you print money and bail out industries, bail out Wall Street, right? Where do you think that money comes from? You don't just make money out of thin air. Where do you think, who's going to pay the piper? Where do you think it actually it comes from the future, okay? And it comes from the tax base. So that means us. That means our future. That's why 20 years ago, when they made all these moves to send business over to China, to send labor over to China, to basically cut all their costs by putting things overseas through NAFTA or whatever, they basically fucked American labor. They fucked the American middle class. They fucked the American poor. They fucked anybody working. Most people working in America got fucked by that because that means labor was no longer useful. You had to find some kind of service sector job, right? It wasn't until apps came that people could become little app slaves and work off that, making pennies, working fucking 16-hour days, whatever, or just eking out life, trying to make ends meet, paycheck to paycheck, just barely, hoping to God they don't get into an accident, hoping to God nothing bad ever happens, hoping to God nothing, because they don't have any savings, they have nothing. What does savings matter anyways when there's inflation and your money's going down in value? So it doesn't even matter. You're in debt up to your eyeballs anyway. So you're all in the red anyways. Whatever money you get is just going to get tossed into a hole that doesn't ever seem to get filled. It'll never get filled. It'll take you decades to pay off things like student debt. Meanwhile, the interest is just compounding and compounding. You're never going to get out of it. The only thing that could possibly save you is some kind of inflation, because at least that way the money goes down in value, and maybe you could come up with $100,000 then when $1 is actually equal to a penny. Like maybe when $100,000 is actually just $1,000 worth, then you can come up with that. So all of that's going on this whole entire time, the past 20 fucking years, and people are wondering why. People are wringing their hands about, oh no, the system, like as if it hasn't been teeter-tottering this entire time for the past 20 years, as if we haven't been juggling. It's like we're fucking one of those bears balancing on a circus ball, juggling and shit, juggling chainsaws or torches or whatever. Like that's the situation we've been doing for the past 20 years, and then really poking the bear with this whole pandemic and lockdown and fucking stealing the election from Trump, and all that stuff, like just poking the shit out of the bear, things like blocking people out of their trades in Robinhood or whatever, like stopping people from trading on apps, like fucking government and corporate collusion to stop regular people from making money the way everybody else does, I don't know. Rules for thee, but not for me, right? Rules for thee. You can do, you do what we say. Do as I say, not as I do. You get to do that as a parent, and I guess as the elite, right? Elites are like our parents. They have a paternal sort of patrician. They're like patricians. They look down on the plebs. The plebs need to be taken care of. The plebs really, they stink on ice. You know what I'm saying? The plebs stink on ice, so they need to really, and they're dumb, they're retarded. They can't take care of themselves. They can't even. What are you gonna do with rich plebs? Oh my God, can you imagine? Can you imagine plebs in the capital? Plebs in the. Listen, aristocracy is antithetical to America. Okay, it is. This whole country is founded on the idea that we're getting away from aristocracy, that aristocracy is inherently corrupt, that aristocracy inherently creates the disparity of wealth that led to the people fleeing in the first place, right? It led to wars. It led to the aristocracy. They saw all these kings destroy their countries, going to war over their fucking some big dick shit, fucking just because they got pissed, and they'd go to war with each other for. England and France were at war for like 100 years. Okay, God knows what for. There, and to finance these wars, they would debase their currencies and fucking basically make the entire population poor, collapse the whole economies just so they could keep up the wars, right? So they ran away from that shit, came here and put in the Constitution that you can't debase the currency. Okay, they literally put in that a dollar has to be worth this much gold or silver because of the shit that they saw with kings debasing their currency and collapsing their economies. We can't do that. So what did we do? We decided to go off the gold standard in the 70s because we were fighting Vietnam and we couldn't afford it anymore. And we're like, what do we do? We can't afford money. We can't afford the money to fight this war if it's all pegged to gold. What should we do? Should we stop the war? No. We should just take the money off of gold and print more, just make more money. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do that. So now this thing that I say started, in 9/11, actually, I can see it starting in 1974, I think, when we went off the gold standard. That's the beginning of it, because that's the beginning of when we unhooked the dollar from something like gold and decided to just turn it into fiat, right? Meaning you just make it so. You can just make more. Oh, you need more money for war? Here you go. And so far, for 40 years, right? 50 years, we've managed to dodge the incoming bullet, dodge the fucking the bad things that happen to every single empire, every single kingdom when they do that, when they debase their currency to continue fighting wars. It's just that we have had so much shit built up from the past generations, we're able to just fucking suck that dry while we do this, right? But soon it's all going to come to an end. Soon it's coming to an end. And, I could actually go back. I'd like to go back farther than 1974. I'd like to go all the way back to the Korean War and Eisenhower's address following the Korean War. What did he say? He said, the fucking military-industrial complex is really trying to fucking fuck us, guys. So you better not don't let them take over everything. Don't let them run stuff, because they're just doing war for money, and money all comes out of your pocket. So don't let them do it, guys. And then lo and behold, what do? We let them do it. That was 1960 to 1974. What do? They killed Kennedy because he was like, nah, I'm going to stop the war. And then, no. And Johnson came in and was like, we must go to Vietnam. And now we're in Vietnam. Yay. And so now we're in Vietnam. That got us to 74. Nixon took us off the gold standard. And then he ended the war, but he didn't end the war machine because he ended the war and then he got kicked out. Isn't that a coincidence? He ended the war. He was like, oh, okay, I'll take us off the gold standard, but I'm ending the war. And they're like, okay, we're impeaching. He got impeached. We're going to impeach you. You should resign. He resigned. Get him out of there. Get him the fuck out of there. You got Ford in there. You got Carter in there. Even Carter, they're like, oh, Carter, everybody's like, he's a good president. He put solar panels on the White House. He's a good guy. Yeah, but he also put into something we follow to this day called the Carter Doctrine. The Carter Doctrine states that the U.S. has a vital interest in the Middle East, and anybody who does anything in the Middle East to fuck with our interest, it's the same as you coming to the U.S. and fucking with us. So basically the Carter Doctrine meant we're stuck in the Middle East. We're like in the Middle East. We're just in there now. So everything that's right. So here you go. You got your fucking post-World War II first conflict of the war machine. They're like, let's keep this fucker going. They had Korea, right? Because of the Cold War. They're like, we need forever wars. The Cold War is great. So you got communism. You got Eisenhower warning us, right? You got fucking Kennedy coming in, trying to stop the CIA, trying to decouple the deep state, and he gets killed, right? They put in Johnson. Johnson takes us to Vietnam. We're in Vietnam, gives us the Great Society because of the beginnings of like the state really just increasing, expending, increasing its fingers and everything, increasing everything. The war machine all being intertwined while social upheaval's going on. Right, while all these fucking shit's going on in the 60s about civil rights, women's rights, all this stuff's going on, and then so you come out with the Great Society, this attempt to, they call it a war on poverty. Back then they had more economic reasons for race. They didn't harp about race so much, because they talked about economics, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna create a welfare state. It's gonna be great, and everybody. And what did that do? That ended up eroding. Right, the black community, the black family, completely eroded. Poor people got poorer after the Great Society, right? People became married to welfare, like the conservatives like to say. And then what do? We ended up with Carter. Carter was just in there because Nixon had to get kicked out, because he stopped the war, and they didn't like that. So got to get him out. Ford, get him out. Carter got in there because everybody hated, the other side. So they're like, we love Carter. Got Carter in there. Carter, he tried to do stuff like get us off oil and get us out of that. We're not going to do that. Also, he was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know why that's Carter voice. I don't know what to do. I don't know why that's Carter. That's like a weird English Bill Clinton. Anyways, he just didn't know what to do in the Iran. He just wasn't tough. He didn't have the toughness, and then fucking Reagan came in with the toughness, and they also had a little secret deal with the Iranians. They were like, hey, how about you not release the guys until after Reagan becomes president, and then we'll give you some weapons. How about that? We'll sell you some weapons. And that happened. So Reagan looked like a hero. He came out, and then it became the me generation, and it became Wall Street, Donald Trump, cocaine. This is when all this shit started happening. Yeah, fuck Jimmy Carter. They fucking took they stripped the fucking solar panels off the White House. They're like, yeah, money, yeah, pump, right? This is the beginnings of that kind of thing. So you got Reagan there. You got 8 years of Reagan. And, people have mixed feelings about Reagan. If you had friends die of AIDS, you probably didn't like him, but if you made a lot of money or if you stood up to communism, you liked that he stood up to communism, you probably like that about him. A lot of people think he's like a Trumpian figure, but he was a spokesperson for General Electric. He used to be the governor of California. He was an insider. Okay. Anyways, you got your Reagan, you got your Bush in there. Bush, who happened to be the head of the CIA, really weird. Bush was in there, but he just couldn't, he didn't have the charisma of Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton came in and was like, yeah, I play the saxophone, and I fuck women, and I do all my things. And he came in, he smooth talked us into it. They're like, we like this guy. You got him in there. He helped run cocaine through Arkansas, and he helped, and he fucked all the women he wanted. Did whatever, raped them, doesn't matter, right? Promises healthcare, that didn't happen. But what did he do? He fucking moved the Democrats to the right so that you couldn't really tell them apart from Republicans. Then he said, hey, we're all pro Wall Street here. We're all pro. What did he do? He got rid of all the laws that got put in place, like Glass-Steagall and all that stuff from the last time we had a giant financial crash, the Great Depression. Took out a lot of these like antitrust laws, allowing corporations like Viacom or whatever to start buying other corporations, making these massive media companies, massive news organizations, the beginning of cable news. He let all of that happen, all the fucking bullshit that's going on now. A lot of our troubles now you could point to when Clinton passed those laws, right? Also, Clinton fucking put after we went into so Bush Sr., of course, went into Iraq. Clinton continued bombing Iraq by putting air bases in Saudi Arabia. And then after Clinton's out, George W. Bush comes in under a contested, heated election, comes in, fucking 9/11 happens. What does Osama bin Laden say? He says, I did it because of these fucking air bases in Saudi Arabia that they're using to bomb Iraq. That and the whole Palestinian thing. It's fucking, I'm done with it. And he was like, you know what I want? I want the U.S. to get into a war, a protracted war into the entire Middle East, okay, and then have him be bled dry. We'll suck him dry just like Afghanistan did to the Soviet Union. We're going to bleed him dry, okay? And, of course, we killed Osama bin Laden. We ran him down. We killed him. But he won in the sense that he is bleeding us dry. Now we have 7 wars. We want to go to more wars. And we had a great financial crash because of the wars. But we said, but fuck it. We decided to print more money. And we're going to just keep going to war. We're going to keep going to war. We're going to keep going to war. We're going to use robots. It's going to be amazing. America, right? Everybody's Afghanistan is the graveyard of empires. Fuck that. We dance on the graveyard. We piss on your graves, other empires. We piss on your graves. This whole thing, we're going to torch this whole motherfucker down, Afghanistan, okay? Which is what we've been doing. We've been murdering 40,000 people a year in Afghanistan this whole time. For what? For nothing. We have documents saying that the generals and all of that know that there's no end game. We don't even know what we're doing. We don't even know who the enemy is. We have no idea what we're doing. Kind of like Vietnam. Remember Vietnam? Remember how for only 10 years Vietnam went and we had stop. 20 years of this war. We got nothing. No cultural impact. No nothing. We're just pretending like nothing's happening. We're just acting like nothing's going on. And meanwhile, the cracks are starting to appear. Little things like this are starting to happen. Storming the Capitol with an A. These things are starting to happen. What other things could occur? I don't know. It's a very exciting time. I wouldn't be afraid. I've been saying this whole time, it's, none of this shit really matters, right? What matters is the circle in front of you. What matters is what's in front of your face. What can you plainly see? What can you plainly do? Right? That's all that really matters. So none of this all this stuff doesn't really matter in the sense that it affects you directly, but I think it is important to know in terms of information that there are avenues to stick it to the elite. There are avenues to stick it to them, right? There are avenues. There's still avenues. Otherwise they wouldn't be so afraid. Otherwise they wouldn't censor so much. Otherwise they wouldn't take the buy button off your Robinhood app. Otherwise they wouldn't try to attempt all of this control, right? The only reason they need to attempt all this control and do all this work to obfuscate what's going on, whatever, is because they know populism is powerful. They know people have the power. They know people united can do crazy things and maybe even revolutionary things. And maybe I don't even think a lot of these people in power are thinking that far ahead. I don't think they care. That's the thing. I think a lot of them are just kind of empty-souled nihilists. I think they're just fucking, trying to extract as much as they can out of this fucking pig before it gets put down, And so the thing they're afraid of is being called out. The thing they're afraid of is everybody figuring out how retarded they are. They're afraid of the Wizard of Oz moment where the curtain goes back. They're afraid, just like marketing executives are afraid. If you ever have a meeting with a marketing executive and you look in their eyes, you can see intense fear, some of the most intense fear in the eyes of a marketer. Less so in sales. That's the difference between marketing and sales. Sales is just like all balls, and they're just like, rah, and they could be completely wrong, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as long as they get this, it's an aggressive thing. Marketing, on the other hand, is more like you're trying to manipulate people's minds. And at the bottom of that is the fact that you have no idea what the fuck you're doing. You're just bullshitting. You know that it's all bullshit. And that's what it is, And that's what we've done. We've monetized all our bullshit. We turned it all into a game, gamified everything. And how fitting it is that GameStop is the one that might stop the game. Woo! All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me this week for the Rojan Kimcast. It has been a pleasure. I'm out there. Find me on Twitter. Find me on Instagram. Find me on Signal. If you're on Signal, I'm on Signal. Should I join Telegram? I don't know. I'm looking for privacy apps and stuff. I'm joining those things. Trying to do less of my communicating on the fucking, on Instagram and Twitter and all of that because they're just shit is. It's on the way out. Okay, they censored the president, the old president, whatever. They censored, they're just straight up censoring information, straight up gaslighting you, straight up, I don't know. So the future is really in decentralization. The future really is in locality. The future really is in the citadel mindset, building your fucking community, building your walls, both digitally and in real life. You know what I mean? Just fucking, I don't know, and fucking not listening to all the bullshit, not being a fucking pussy, just fucking getting after it and loving your friends, your family, all that shit. What the fuck am I doing? Okay. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.